Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with, probably, I would say, one of the all-time guests of Keeping It Geekly, George. I still, and I think every time we sit down, I bring this up, but I have to. I mean, it's Keeping It Geekly lore, right? So I was doing the Twitch thing, Job for a Cody, and I remember I put out a little beater to interview. We connected, and it was my first interview. So first interview, this is interview 495.
95, dude. Wow.
And realistically, it's a much more. It's probably like 520, 530. But you have a podcast as well, and it's like so many people turn to bad apples a year or two after you meet them, a year or two after you connect with them, and that's how it goes. Like you interview someone, then talk for a hot second, and they're saying some crazy shit on like Twitter, and then you got to block them, then you got to delete the podcast, and you're like, oh yeah, another one bites the dust, like.
Oof, yeah. No, I hear that. Oh man, that's terrible. Yeah, no, you're right.
So man, how's everything been? It's been what? It feels like at least a year or two.
Yeah, because I think the last time I was on here was what was it for Wonder Duck that I was doing?
Yeah, I believe so.
Something, right? So that was like 2 years ago. Yeah. No, it's been it's been a grind, man. I'm still producing my books. Obviously, you guys can see I have the new book that's out right now on Kickstarter, the Shameless Plug, but. Yeah, man. No, it's just been this. It's been podcasts. It's been writing. It's been, going to conventions. I've done a lot of conventions. Like just not just behind the table, but just attending conventions. I love to just go to conventions and attend them, and have fun that way. So yeah, it's been it's been a good 2 years.
Man,
just producing.
I seen the one con of someone was in a Wonder Duck cosplay.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Somebody showed up. I knew this gentleman. He kept telling me, George, I'm gonna dress up because if you look at this man, he doesn't look like he goes to conventions. And he kept telling me, I go to conventions all the time. I dress up. I've been Batman. I've been Joker. I've been this. I'm like. You've never stopped lying to me. You don't go to conventions. You're pulling my leg. I like conventions. So you're just saying that. He's like, I'm gonna order a suit. I'm gonna order a duck suit, and I'm gonna be Wonder Duck. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Sure did. Went on Amazon, ordered the suit, customized it, and then showed up at the New York Comic Con, dressed up like Wonder Duck. And it was insane to see this, man. Like just to see your own character. Somebody cosplaying it, which is so surreal.
He put some work into it too.
He put work into it.
It was legit. Like he put. I thought I was like, dude, this has to be a very expensive suit.
I know. I'm like, yo, what the hell? But it was amazing. It was amazing, and it was such a good experience, man. Yeah. So that was at New York Comic Con. That was just recent. Yeah, it just happened. Yeah,
that is so cool. So I mean, congratulations on that and everything with Wonder Duck. That's kind of where we. First met each other. My daughter's read Wonder Duck. She loved it.
Awesome.
It's cool. Did I ever ask if Darkwing Duck was any sort of influence to that?
So it was that, and it was the Disney Afternoon, but it was DuckTales, and I loved Gizmo Duck. Like that was my favorite character. And so I decided to take the wheels off and take the wheel off, I should say, and create my own superhero duck, and that's how Wonder Duck came to be. So yeah, it was that, but definitely Darkwing Duck was also because that came out around the same time that DuckTales I was very popular, but like Darkwing Duck was like it was what I took from that was just I loved the rogue gallery.
Yeah,
Darkwing Duck had, and so I was like, oh, I need one of those too. And so I'm as I tell the stories, I'll introduce more and more of these the rogue gallery. But yeah. Definitely.
See, I asked because I actually interviewed Tad Stones and then Brandon Montclair. Wow. Tad Stones did Darkwing Duck and creator of it, and then Brandon just was doing the DuckTales series. So yeah, dude, it's so funny because like, man, honestly, if we never would have done that interview, I don't think I ever would have been an interviewer. Like, because we were talking backstage, it was like that confidence, like where you were like. man, you're a
Yeah.
natural at this. I was like, you know
Dude.
what? Maybe I'm a natural at this.
You're
like,
freaking natural, bro. Do you get nervous when you're interviewing people like that,
oh,
or
dude, there's been there's there's times before where I would like have to be doing push-ups before an interview. Like I'd start getting like the like I gotta use the bathroom, and it's like I can't use the bathroom. I'm just too nervous. But I remember there'd be time I'd be listening to like hype music, doing push-ups, and I'd get into the flow, and it's like I've done it, and I just love it. The only thing that really throws me off is when I get a guest that has a harder name to pronunciate. So like I get on there, I mispronunciate the name, and then we're off to a bad start. And then I feel horrible, and then it just like I feed into that during the interview, and it's like, damn it. So I do everything I can not to say their name, and it's okay if it's like a solo interview, but if it's like 2 or 3 people and I'm trying to like hey you, I don't want to say your name wrong again, but I know you see me like.
Right. Oh man, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. That's funny, man.
But sometimes I'm a pretty honest guy. So like I'll be honest like before, and I'll be like, hey, probably gonna butcher your name, like, and I'm really sorry, and I'm gonna feel really guilty about it. Are you okay with that? And they're like, yeah, I usually get, so I think as long as you like set that tone, they're cool.
That's true.
But if you're kind of just like going into the interview just blatantly like, I think that's kind of where the line's drawn.
And then it just keeps getting more and more awkward. It just gets worse and worse at that point,
Oh yeah. And all you could do is kind of, my philosophy's always been like, I'm the captain of the ship, and this ship is going to go wherever I want it to go. And if I'm going to sink it, I'm going to sink it. The captain's going to go down with the ship. But, all you got to do, you just poke fun at yourself, kind of, oh, hey, like, look at me just being dumb, mispronouncing your name. I'm sorry about that. And, as long as you're having fun, everyone else is going to have fun with you, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. And I like it. I like it when it's organic. And you can like, especially if you poke fun at yourself, like it just becomes, everybody's just having a good time now. We're all just having fun, like, yeah, no, totally.
And that's, man, too many people are, I think that's where a lot of the realness is kind of getting thrown out the window. Too many people want to polish it and have it be just like too squeaky clean and too perfect. And I mean, to each their own, but like, I like it to be a little raw. I like people to know sometimes like, hey, sometimes I cough. Sometimes I got the sniffles. I can't help it. My bad.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think like I watch a lot of these podcasts. I'm a huge like sports fan, and I'll watch a lot of like sports like podcasts and stuff like that. And as soon as they start getting too polished, I go. I'm like, I'm done. I like the rawness of it. Like as soon as and this is sponsored by whatever, and I'm like, I get it. Listen, we got to make our money, and if you have sponsors, that's amazing. But I think sometimes it gets a little too squeaky clean, like you said. It's like, bring it back to how it was, because that's what attracted me to it in the first place.
Yeah, and for me at least, I like keeping it real. I like keeping my flow. Often there's times, it really depends on the level of podcaster, I guess you are, but there's often times where I'm exhausted. I'm fucking out of it. I'm tired. I get up at 7, take the kids to school. I'm lucky to get a little nap.
Right.
Doing dishes, doing laundry. There's so much. It's not like I'm just like chilling in like a golden throne. Like, all right, it's time for me to do my podcast. Like I'm living like a full-time like dad life before, I'm rushing the kids to bed. I'm like, okay, I got 10 minutes to read 40-minute or 40-page, comic. Like, let's go. But I think it's that energy that like keeps me going, right? Like I think if it wasn't for me having to kind of just like throw myself into it and just hit the rawness, like there's really no point, right?
No, and you know what I gotta say, I really listen. I appreciate you having me on here, because I know how crazy it gets, and I know how tough it is to book people into, especially when you're a one-man show kind of thing, and you're doing it like this. So I appreciate you, man. Like even when I reached out, you're like, yeah, we got time, and before you know it, it was October, and it was like, oh shoot,
yeah.
Dude, it was crazy. Like, and I think we spoke back in July, and then before you know it, the campaign was live.
Like, oh yeah, dude, man, and that just goes to show you how crazy life. Like my daughter was born in July, so like there's a hot second where I'm not even, and that's the thing too. There's so many different social media platforms, and you main one, and then the other ones you check periodically. There's people.
Right.
I had a animator for Batman Hush like hit me up on Facebook, and I'm like, if you're watching, please message me back. I'm desperately trying to like hit him back from like a month or two ago. Like, hey man, would love to get you on. Sorry, I really don't check this. Like,
Right.
but life comes at you, and I think that's why I really resonated with the Shameless Plug. You know, at first when I seen the name, I thought, I was like, okay, like, I see what you did there. You did a shameless plug for the like, all right. But really, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's kind of a story. And even if you're not, an immigrant, even if you didn't really have a language barrier or anything like that, you could still relate to this, at its core. At some point in your life, you probably dealt with some sort of, butthole out there. Or someone who really pushed your buttons as a kid and you really didn't understand why, that innocence as a kid, right? Like not, everybody's good in the world. Like there's not jerks out there. Like, I really, reading this felt a lot of that innocence, that I felt as a kid. And I think you did a really good job. I met you, with, Wonder Duck, which, two different worlds, right? It's two different types of stories, and getting to read, you kind of dive into this character study of someone who's really kind of experiencing a new world, that is really cruel. Like you wish that as a kid, like life is going to be awesome, cherry blossoms, perfect, but the cold hard truth is it's not always the case. And especially for other people, it's a harder struggle for them too. And I think you really nailed it. The actual Plug himself, I really like the design, the character, on the cover as we see him right now. I thought it was really cool. Like, what made you choose a Plug? I know you kind of mentioned it, I think, on the campaign, but like just kind of in live and in person, what made you really go for that Plug?
So it was this guy right here, right? It was this. It was I literally. So I drive for work. I'm always on the road, and this little Plug was sitting on my like what the oh my god, I can't even think. It's 10 o'clock. Uh, on the cup holder. So he was sitting on the cup holder, and I was like, oh, what if you drew like eyes and like a mouth on this thing? Like that would be kind of a cool character, I guess. And I was like, all right, well, what would I call it, right? And that obviously I was doing the podcast, and at the end of our podcast, we would always do like a shameless plug for one of our friends who had a book coming out or something. It's time for our shameless plug, and I'm like, okay, what if this was the shameless plug? But then what would I do? What would the story be? And originally I was going to put him in an anthropomorphic like world of plugs where it was just one of those stories. And I was like, all right, but then what would I do with that? So I was like, okay, what if I made it a little more personal and threw kind of like myself into it? What would that look like? And then I started thinking about the themes of fitting in. What do plugs do? They fit into sockets, right? For the most part. So what if this shameless plug had a message for this kid who was maybe not going through some stuff where he didn't fit in? What would the message be? And then so it evolved from that. It became that. And I think to your point, like you don't have to be an immigrant to not fit into places. Like how many times have you started at a new job or you moved to a new neighborhood or whatever? We are always in situations where we are the new person. And for the most part, most of us want to kind of like fit into this environment so that we're not standing out too much. Some people don't care. And I think the older you get, you don't give a crap, right? Like, you're like,
Yeah.
but I think when you're younger, when you're a kid, you do want to fit in. You want that. So that's why I started developing the story of that. And I used myself in it. I came here when I was 7 years old. I was awkward, skinny, goofy looking. I didn't speak the language. Not much has changed. And I decided, you know what? Let me throw myself into it. And so that's where the story kind of came up. And that's where, I started developing it. And it's like you said, it's very different from like Wonder Duck, where it's just action, adventure, fun, cartoon. Let's just have an adventure. Where this is more like, all right, well, what happens when a kid comes into a world where like other kids are very mean to him and he doesn't know why? It's like, what the heck just happened? Yeah, and that's where this came from.
So was there any sort of extra like studying or extra like curricular stuff that you did to prepare yourself for this story? Because I mean, Wonder Duck's, intergalactic duck, taking on villainous foes, blasting them away, and we have a young child just trying to survive school.
Right.
Two different parallels. I mean, did you like read any sort of books or check out any sort of source material to kind of like put you back in that school vibe?
I think, people say write what you know, right? And I believe that there's truth in that, but I also believe that when you write what you know, you write your experiences. And your experiences then lead to, oh, I can relate to that. I've had a similar experience to that. And so I used a lot of that. I kind of went back into like, okay, how was it growing up? Now, the stuff that happens, I mean, did I have an imaginary friend who was a plug? No, I didn't. You know what I mean? Joaquin does. I did it. But I use that as a way to tell the story. So I did do research as far as like imaginary friends and why kids, you know, create these imaginary friends. And a lot of kids do it to kind of deal with trauma or
Mm-hmm.
things that they're going through. And so they create these imaginary friends to kind of help them cope with some of that stuff. So I leaned into that. Like, okay, what if this was this imaginary friend, on steroids almost, where he was a shameless plug and he was gonna make him feel like he was unstoppable. And I started thinking, you ever heard of that movie Drop Dead Fred?
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest movie, but it had to do with like a little girl who had this imaginary friend named Fred, who was just a nightmare. And I was like, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. That sounds kind of cool. So I kind of started, I watched that movie again. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I used some of that, but again, the the key is making it your own and making it your, what you went through. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I did do a little bit of that, but a lot of it is just memories that I have growing up as a kid, and some of the things that Joaquin goes through, some of the things that I went through. Like I send you the book, and this is not a spoiler because you'll get this in the first 8 pages. But when Joaquin comes to the States, his mom comes here before he does to kind of set up this life for them. So he
Mm-hmm.
kind of stays behind in Ecuador in this case, which is where I'm from also. And his parents come to the States before he does. So he kind of grows up with his grandparents. And so kind of dove into how did that affect me growing up? The questions that I had. And these are some of the questions that Joaquin has. So some of those things are in there. So I say it's loosely based on true events because it is. It's loosely based on what the things that I went through as a kid. You know.
So, how was it to kind of open some of those wounds up with this book?
I think that yeah, I'm a lot older now. I mean, this was 40 years ago. And I think that now as an adult, I look back and you as a parent, you look back and you're like, damn, as a parent, parents will do anything for their kids to
Yeah.
make their lives better. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I look at it that way now. I look at it as they did it because they wanted a better life for me. And so it's not something that I can be like, oh man, why did you do that? You know what? As a kid, I questioned it, but now as an adult, I realize, yeah, you know what? There was a reason for it,
Yeah.
and so it's easier to kind of deal with it now, as an adult than say if I had written this, 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a whole different experience for me.
That perspective is everything. I remember when my father passed when I was young, like 9 years old, and it hit my family and my mom, really hard, obviously. And I remember growing up thinking, like, why is it hitting her so hard? Why is she so sad? Why is she so depressed?
Mm,
Just things you would have as a kid, and growing up, I'm like, dude, she lost the love of her life, her husband. That was her side by side partner. Like they were into this together, and how would I feel if I lost someone like that to me? Like,
right.
and it's crazy. It's like the older you get, obviously, it's like that, the more wisdom you get, and then you're able to understand that stuff on such a deeper level. And it really opens you up to a whole different,
Yeah.
viewpoint of thinking. And you only get that through living life. And that's like the cruelty of it, right? You only get that through living life. You can read books and books out the wazoo, but you only get that true experience from actually just like kind of like feeling it. And The way you self-inserted yourself in these moments, I mean, it just, I felt like it really made this book a lot more personal. The bullying, like, just hit. We were talking backstage, like, your bully in this is just diabolical. I feel bad for young George. Like, Jesus, this guy was a jerk. I mean, like, holy crap, was it difficult writing like a bully? You know, like keeping that fine line of keeping it, you know, YA, without going overboard with them.
I questioned that myself, and I had people kind of read the book and say, "Hey, do you think that this is maybe too much?" But so there's a line. There's a line in the book. Well, I mean, the kid is, like you said, he's horrible, but he calls him by a nickname, right? And I came to the States back in, like, it was 84. 84 I was 7 years old. And in the 80s, I came to New York. I lived in New York. And yeah, so obviously there's tons of, like, just immigrants in New York and everywhere. But I remember here in New York in the 80s, if you were Hispanic in the 80s, you were either from Mexico or you were from Puerto Rico. Like, those are the only two countries that spoke Spanish at the
Mm-hmm.
time in people's minds, right? Not realistic, because obviously they were immigrants from all over the place. But for a long time, kids just called me Mexico. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. I I look at it now and I'm like, wow, that sounds kind of crazy, but it was just what happened back then. So
Yeah.
writing that into the book, I questioned, like, damn, is that too much? Especially in the world we live in today, where, like, you could easily offend. And it wasn't in this, again, writing that character is not to offend anybody. It's not for that. It's just that that's who that character is. And I think that when you're writing characters, you have to be true to who the character is.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's who that character is, then that's who he is or she is. And the story then deals with that character as the story goes along. And as the story goes along, you'll see what happens with Chip and Joaquin and their dynamic. But that's what's building up here in the first chapter of the book, which is the first 40 pages that are on Kickstarter right now.
And I loved how many different, like, emotional beats there were in this story. It's really heartfelt and driven. And you really feel for the protagonist. You did a good job of scripting a character very likable, and someone you can relate to, right? Like, and I think that's kind of one of the harder parts of writing a protagonist. Like, sure, you could write someone who, you might be able to be like, all right, this guy is a badass, like, I like him. But this one you can really relate to on a more, like, deeper level, right? I'm sure most of you guys listening have dealt with, like, a bully or a jerk or someone you had to handle here and there. And it kind of sucks, right? It kind of puts you in a weird state. You're just trying to mind your business. And I think, hitting a character of that multitude, you just did an outstanding job.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because that was, I mean, it's like you said, it's easy to write the badass character, right? Like the cool, hero.
Yeah.
That's easy sometimes. It's writing the vulnerable, kind of geeky kid. How do you make that likable? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, so I appreciate you saying that, because that was something that I was trying to aim for, and to do it in that amount of, like, to do it in the first 40 pages, to set the scene without boring you. I think that was also like something that I was trying to avoid, because the story gets going after what you read. The story really picks up,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and that's where you really start. The story really gets going. But I did want to introduce you guys to, like, the world, the characters, what he's going to be dealing with, and how he's going to deal with it comes after. So this is really like a setup
Hmm.
for everybody. So I'm happy that you enjoyed it, man. Thank you.
So let's go ahead and talk creative team. Who is all involved on this book?
So the artist on the book is actually the same artist that I worked on Wonder Dog with. His name is Joseph Valesco. He's done such an incredible job with the book, and we teamed up again. Decided to work together. I was so happy when he said he would work on the project, so I teamed up with him. So he's doing all the interior art, pencils, inks, and colors are all done by him. I do the lettering on the book, so these are all his images. And but the initial design of the character was done by a gentleman named Joe Holly.
Hmm.
And Joe Holly, I sent him an image that I drew of the character. I said, "Hey Joe, can you kind of like just refine this, make it look cool?" And so he sent me his rendition of it. He was a little taller when he sent it to me, so I went into Photoshop, shrunk him down, and I made him a little smaller, a little more cute looking. You know what I mean? For what I was trying to do here with these characters, and so I had the look of the character, and then I hired a gentleman by the name C. Michael Lanning to kind of flesh out the rest of the cast. So I kind of like sketched some of them out. I said, "Can you do? Let me see these in a more cartoony style." And so he did that. So yeah, so I've worked with a few artists who helped me kind of like build this world and create these characters.
And I really, really like the design as well. I love how it's the same artist from Wonder Dog. I almost would
Yeah.
not have guessed because it felt like two different types of styles almost.
Yeah. He's incredible, man. Joseph, and listen, he's such a joy to work with. Like I send them the scripts, he sends me back pages. If I have anything that I change, I rarely have anything to change. He changes it right away. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is, nowadays, a lot of artists work digitally, so it's so easy to change things digitally. So yeah, so it's been amazing to work with him.
Let's go ahead and check out some of the rewards.
Yeah,
So at
yeah.
$7, we have a digital copy of the 40-page full-colored comic book. So this is going to be 40-page. You mentioned next year a potential graphic novel. How many pages are you looking at in total for this story?
The graphic novel is 140 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow, that's a big
140.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're 90 pages in. Like the book is done. I don't know if I showed it to you. I mean, obviously you got a copy, but the book is done. These are the proofs.
Here, hold on
Uh,
1 second. We'll
yeah. Oh, there it is.
zoom
Uh,
in.
yeah, so the book is completely done. It's 100 and well, this one's 40 pages. So this is the first chapter of the book, and it's done and ready to rock and roll. The Joseph is 90 page. We're 90 pages into the book already. So the book will be done by next spring, I want to say, because we have another 49 or 50 pages to go. So the book will be done by next spring. But it is a 140-page graphic novel.
So we have the Brash tier. This will be 15. This includes a physical copy of the 40-page full-colored comic book. The Brazen tier, I'm loving these names too. Bold, Brash, Brazen. Includes a physical copy of the Mad cover of the 40-page. So this cover, yeah, this is a gorgeous cover too. I love this right
Yeah,
here.
that's Chris Mad. Chris Mad was the artist. I hired him to do the. This is the
Oh, hold
version
on 1 second.
of the book, and him and Shauna Mad did the dynamic duo. Man, she colors, he draws, and
Mm-hmm.
they did this for me, and it's a beautiful, beautiful cover. I have two versions of it. I have that, and I have what you see there with the trade address on it. Oh yeah, I keep. So these are the two books there.
Dude, it
So I
reminds
have.
me of those shirts from the '90s. What with the Looney Tune characters? How they're like the
Yeah.
backwards jeans, the back hats. They had the
Oh
dreads.
yeah,
Dude, I
dude.
missed.
Yes.
I had one of those. I missed that shit.
Yeah, man. So he really did an incredible job with the artwork on that. So yeah, it was cool. Really cool.
Now we have the Blanton tier, $20, physical copy of the Virgin Mad cover.
Yep.
Then the Gone Mad tier, so $30. This includes the physical copies of both covers of the 40-page, plus a 6x9 print.
Yep.
And then the Shameless tier. So tell me a little bit about the Shameless tier.
So that's all the covers plus the 6x9 print. You get all of them for $50. That includes all of it. The pay it forward tier, which is the one that's coming up next. So when I did Wonder Duck, I sent a bunch of books out to Kids Hospital, and we sent out a bunch of comics to them. I teamed up for this one. I teamed up with a library, local library here,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going to donate books to them. So for this tier, everybody who pledges to this tier, you get both copies of the book. So you get the regular cover A and the Chris Mad tier,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5 books go to the library. So that's what the $50 one is, and this is free shipping. I won't charge you guys shipping. You guys get the two
That's
books that
so
you want,
cool.
and then 5 books go to the library. Yeah. So I've had a few of those already, so that's awesome. I always love to do that kind of stuff. And I went into my local library. I said, would you be interested in if I donated some books to the library? That I did, and they were like, oh, for sure, absolutely. So they're on board with it. So
Yeah, that is so cool, and I love how it's giving back to the community as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
No, that is so cool. So we have the Get Your Meds tier,
That's
$100.
that's everything.
Yeah,
That's all.
this is a whopper right here, man. Holy crap!
Yeah, man. All the books, the two Wonder Duck graphic novels, the Russ graphic novel, a trading card, a T-shirt, and a couple of prints there. You guys are getting for that.
And then let's check out some preview pages as well. I knew there were some preview pages on here. That's why I was scrolling earlier. I just didn't realize they were under the rewards. So I love how this perfectly encapsulates a day at school. Walking in, you go into lunch, and it's always like, where do I sit? You know.
Right, right. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I just love how like this dude, he just looks like such a freaking turd. Like, it's one thing to be able to write a character as a jerk, but to be able to draw and design one that it just has a punchable face, I think is like the perfect calling card.
Punchable face. I love it, man. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, no, he's done an incredible. Joseph, I can't say enough about his artwork, man. He just captures all these little
And the
characters.
coloring is very vibrant too.
Yeah, I love the way he colored it. I mean, he just did an incredible job, man. I couldn't be happier with what he did.
Because a lot of, I've been really researching, analyzing, and researching, breaking down comics and even stuff like this, like the different color to
Hmm.
emphasize different emotions. Like,
Yeah,
the little attention to details. Like, he definitely does a phenomenal job.
yeah. No, he's done an incredible job. These are just the add-ons. If you guys wanted to add a digital or any of the covers or stuff like that, you can always add it to your pledge, and you can add, the issues of Wonder Dog if you want, issue number one, or the graphic novels. Yeah, so that's all available, and it's all open for you guys to kind of check it out. And that's the creative team that I was telling you about. I also used an editor for this one to help me kind of like weed, get out of my
Mm-hmm.
own way. So big shout out to LA Cunningham who did that for me, and then these gentlemen down at the bottom. That's Joe Holly there with the glasses, and that's Victor Claudia who did the coloring on the initial character. C. Michael Lanning is the one that did the character designs, and then there's Chris and Shauna who helped with the covers. And these are their links. So if you guys are on the campaign and you want to check out some more of their work, definitely hit those links and check them out because they're incredible. They're incredible artists.
That is awesome. And we are like getting close to hitting one of these stretch goals, right? Or
Yeah,
yeah,
the third
yeah.
one. The third one. Yeah, yeah. We're close. I think we're like $48 away from unlocking the third one, which is a secret page in the book. We've unlocked the sticker and the
Mm-hmm.
the, uh, the trading card. So the trading card's already unlocked, but we're waiting to unlock the secret page within the book. So that's still to come. And then if we get to the 4K, 5K, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I may unlock a couple, maybe the second chapter of the book. And
Mm-hmm.
then a buddy of mine, Sam Vera's got a campaign going on right now as well. This is a print that he did. If you guys pledge to both campaigns, then you get this print for free.
That is awesome. So George, for anyone who
Yeah.
might be on the fence about backing, what would you like to say to them to push them over that hump? We're hitting what, the last 100 hours, I think, of the campaign.
71 hours.
71. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what? Okay, so check this out. So what I'm doing first, let me tell you about this. Every 10 backers, you're unlocking a golden cap bottle, is what I call it. So what happens is every 10 backers, I'm spinning a wheel, and whoever wins one of these gets it in their package when I send it out to them. Next year, when I'm walking around conventions, when I'm doing conventions, if you have one of these, find me. You'll find me because it'll be on my website. Find me at that
Mm-hmm.
convention, and I'll hand you a free copy of the graphic novel, the complete graphic novel for free, so that you'll get one of these
That
if
is,
you're on
I
my
think
website.
that's the first time I've ever heard of. It's like a Willy Wonka golden
Willy
comic
Wonka.
ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Willy Wonka. Find me and I'll give it to you. I will give you the graphic novel. The other thing that I'm doing is so conversion is very important when you're doing these Kickstarters. Right now, I have about 77 people following the campaign, and I get it. A lot of people want to wait till the end, make sure that there's money in the account before they actually hit the pledge, and I appreciate that because the last thing you want is for a pledge not to go through. So I appreciate that. But what I'm doing is if if I get a 100% conversion rate. Like I said, right now, 77 people are following it. Out of those 77, 32 have actually pledged.
Mm-hmm.
If 77 out of 77 pledge, before Thursday at 8:15, I will then give everybody who's pledged to the campaign a digital copy of the entire graphic novel once it's finished. I'll
Let's
send
go.
it all out to you guys. So, but it's got to be 100%. It can't be 99. It can be, you know what I mean? And right now I'm at
Mm-hmm.
77. If somebody drops out, then it kind of kills the whole thing. And also the pledges have to go through. So the money has to go through before I can send all that stuff out. But I'm doing that as an incentive to get people to kind of just come out there and just give it a try. Give it a try. Check out the campaign, and give it a pledge. Right now, I think I'm at 104 backers. So hopefully, if I can get to 110, I'll unlock another spin on the wheel for somebody to win this bad boy. So
And right here is a link for you guys to do that. Get on there. Be sure to back if you're able. If you're not, put it on Facebook or Twitter. Tell your friends and family. Word of mouth costs you absolutely nothing. George, you've been on the show before. You know the drill. And that's one of the things I love the most. You know, you find something that works for you and you kind of just run it into the ground until the wheels fall off. You know, and for me, you know, we love breaking down the what goes into, you know, a comic book, the emotions, the physical aspect of it, you know, the emotional. And then we also love having a little piece of, you know, advice for anyone out there starting. You know, as much as this is a show about promoting, I also want it to be one where people can learn a little something here and there. So for the creator out there that is looking to get better with promoting their work, as someone who has kind of been notorious for just promotion in itself, right? I see you out there putting that work in, and you've been putting that work in for years. What would be your biggest piece of advice to kind of help them? Even if it's just something they can start right now, what would be, you know, something they can do?
I think first the first thing you got to do is you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I think that a lot of creatives, we tend to be introverts and we don't necessarily like to like put our stuff out there, put ourselves out there. But I think that you have to kind of like try your hardest to understand that it's an uncomfortable feeling to be this person where I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you about my story, but you have to start getting comfortable doing it. Otherwise, nobody's going to know who you are, what you're doing, and why they should read your book. Because sometimes I truly believe that our stories, these podcasts, somebody somebody needs it, right? You never know who's gonna need
Yeah.
that book, who's gonna need that this podcast, the advice, whatever. Somebody may be watching right now that'd be like, wow, I needed to hear that. I needed to
Mm-hmm.
hear that. And so it's important for you to kind of like be comfortable doing this because if you love it, you have to go out there and just grind and I'm not saying be fake because you have to be yourself because people can tell also when you're being phony.
Oh yeah.
Be genuine, make sure that you're genuine, and that and I think that'll shine through, man. But definitely be comfortable being uncomfortable and just go out there and just give it a shot, you
I
know.
love that. And you know, I think being phony is not only is it like worse, but it works against you. Like,
Yeah.
so people are like, not only are you fake, but like now I hate you. Uh,
Absolutely.
and you know the you know, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is such great advice. I mean, it's hard
It's
to put
hard.
yourself out there. It's hard to stretch that, especially if you're like an introvert.
Hmm.
If you're not like someone who, you know, for me, for the longest time, I'm like, dude, like a lot of people tell me they like my podcast, but maybe they're just being nice because like they don't want to hurt my feelings. Like, um, you know, it just recently was I getting on my Facebook and I'm like, are you guys keeping it geekly? If you're not, like, here's a link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like,
Right.
you'll find out that there's people out there, you know, you have your friends, and a lot of your friends probably aren't going to support your work. That's
Yeah,
just the cold hard truth. But
it's true.
you're gonna find new friends in the comic circle, in the community, that will support you and be your friend, right? Like, so that's how I look at it. You know, I think, you know, we have our in real life friends, who's kind of like your getaway from work, get away from creating content, where, you know, yeah, cool, you're doing podcasts, you're doing comic, hell yeah, they probably don't care. But then you have your friends who do the comic stuff and they're like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, you're
Yeah.
doing it, you're killing it, I love it. And I think you got to kind of just realize who's in what group, and then, you know, just don't take it the hard way, right? Like, friends and family might not like your post, but you're gonna have a whole other bunch of comic friends who will.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, get comfortable with finding out people probably aren't going to care who you think are going to care, but then you're going to find out there's a ton of other people who care that you never would have guessed, right? Like,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And
so
I mean, it hurts when you find it out, but it is what it is. That's just
yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah. I think you rip that Band-Aid off,
rip it off.
and you're better for it, right? Like, you
Mhm.
know, like you think all your friends and family, like that first campaign you have, they're gonna support. The second one, probably not, right? But then that's where your comic community comes in, and those are the ones who are supporting your work. And you're like, okay, these are the ones that I will pull on when I need a creative boost, when I
Mhm.
need a ear to lean on, when I need to bust out this plot and get some feedback. These are my people.
Yeah.
And I think you're better for it, you know, and.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I love podcasts like this too, where, you know, it's real and it's raw. And
I
like we
agree.
talk about the book, we talk about the promotion, then we're like, yeah, dude, like here's some realness to think about as well. So
That's it.
um,
That's it, dude. That's it.
we have our good friend, and I'm probably gonna butcher this name. We were talking about that backstage too. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Anna Balrioyo, 4242. No bouncing checks, folks. Talking about the campaign. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that as well. So, George, last but not least, outside of creating, what are you consuming? You know, what TV shows are you watching? What books are you reading? You know, what have you been up to?
So I'm a huge fan of the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm still collecting Amazing Spider-Man, believe it or not. So I should be picking up the newest issue. So when this Wednesday probably comes out, I'm sure. As far as TV goes, man, shoot, I haven't. I got to get into Gen V, the second
The
season.
second season gets a little wild.
Yeah, okay, because I gotta check that out. I haven't checked that out. I want to start watching that. I was watching Peacemaker.
I loved Peacemaker season 2. Oh my
Peacemaker was
God,
fun.
it was so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it was a fun season. So yeah, nah, dude, I'm trying to get into more stuff, and obviously, with the creating and all this other stuff, like the last 30 days have been just insane. You know what I
hmm
mean? Just
hmm
because of the campaign. But no, I'm looking forward to just kind of like checking out some Gen V, and seeing what everybody's talking about how good it is. So I can't wait
Yeah,
to
it
check
gets
it out.
wild. So, George, this is actually your friend, Annabelle.
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, thank you for joining us,
Oh,
Annabelle.
what's
I
up, amigo?
appreciate
Yeah,
that, and I hope
there
you're
it
having
is.
a good evening as well. So, it is time for us to wrap up. Once again, everyone that is watching, be sure to hit this campaign. Link will be in description, but if you're watching right now, it's right there in chat. Be sure to back. If you're unable to back, put it on Facebook and Twitter. Word of mouth costs you absolutely nothing. I hope you all have a fantastic Monday, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.